Hello folks. For anyone who's interested, I talk about it off and on throughout this whole video, but this lantern, I bought it for the case that it was in because the case was cheaper than the case usually is empty, and it had this lantern in it. The video you're about to watch, I go through and get this lantern cleaned up and going. It's a good solid burning lantern, and I'm gonna post this on eBay and sell this one. We've got oodles and gobs of these Coleman lanterns from the 60s and 70s. I don't need another one. So anybody who watches this video that's interested in purchasing this lantern, the auction's gonna go up on eBay within a day or two of this video being posted. And you can go on eBay. I will put a link to the eBay listing in the description of this video. I'll also put a link to this video in my description on eBay. I'm pretty sure it will let me do that. So if you find it on eBay, you can come watch this video. If you watch this video and think you might be interested in buying this lantern, you can follow the link to eBay. I'm gonna list it with no reserve and probably a $5 opening bid on it, and probably, I'll have to look, probably $20 shipping or $18 shipping, whatever it'll take to ship it anywhere in the continental United States. So if you're interested in buying this lantern, click the link down in the description and go over to eBay and check it out. Good morning folks. I'm back out of Dad's shop today. I got another lantern to work on out here. The weather's not fitting to do anything outside. Actually, I got Willis out here with me today because they got school canceled because it was about 16 below zero actual temperature this morning at the time that the kids would have been waiting at the bus stop, so they canceled school today.
Got 2 foot of snow.
Yeah, we got at least, I'll bet we got 2 feet of snow in the last 6 days here, which is a lot for Eastern Iowa anymore. But anywho, I got another lantern to work on out here. I bought this lantern up in an antique store that I was at. I bought it just for the case. It does say $35. I was looking at the thing and it kind of looks like it says $135, but I didn't spend that much on I bought several lanterns that they had there, and I didn't spend that much on all of them, so anywho, we'll get this out of here and see what we got. This poor old lantern, I bought it for the case. When I saw the price, I figured there wasn't even a lantern in the case, but there is one in there, but it is a basket case of a lantern, that's for sure. The poor old thing has been used hard, but I'm still gonna see if we can get it going or not. I looked at the bottom, but I don't remember what I said it was. January of 1964. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but all Coleman lanterns are all, except for the really, really old ones, but they've got a date code in the bottom of it. This one's going to be hard to read. 1/64. I don't know if the camera will pick that up at all or not. It does have a good Coleman globe in it, which is the proper globe. The ball nut on the top of here is not the correct one. This is,
looks like off of a Platoons or like a Holiday
or probably one of the propane. They've got aluminum ball nut like that, but that's definitely an aluminum nut off of some different lantern. We're gonna see if we can make this thing work or not. I think the glass is actually good, and it's the correct glass for this. The red Coleman Pyrex made in USA. Yeah, I don't see any chips or cracks.
Why don't you give me that and I'll try not to break it.
Let's see here, there is I don't know what the heck that is laying in the bottom of there. That I thought it was part of a mantle, but I'm pretty positive it's not. It's like a piece of paper towel. I don't know if they shoved a piece of paper towel in there and lit it to try to get the thing to light or what, but it has a sparker on it. Oh, and it actually works. Usually those don't work, but that one actually does work. The manhole's got about 11 holes in them, so I might as well go ahead and knock those off of there. We'll have to put new ones on.
Is that 51?
Throw those. What?
4011, is that 51?
Oh, I don't know. Probably about. Throw these on the floor. Dad can sweep them up next time he's sweeping the floor out here. This poor old thing though is just, it's been through the ringer. I don't know. I've not taken the cap off yet, but I can see Teflon tape around the cap, so that's not a good sign. I do have new cap gaskets though. Oh Jesus. They got Teflon tape wadded up and shoved around where the cap gasket should be in there too.
Oh my, that's not good.
Never seen anything like that before. What do you think of that, Willis? For some reason, Willis is hiding over here off the side of the camera. Plus, he won't take his coat off because it's 16 below zero outside.
50 below in here.
Let's see if the pump feels like... Oh, actually, the pump feels like it's pumping. It is. The pump works. That's a good sign. That saved a little bit of time having to try to tear that apart. I can smell rotten gas. And it does smell like rotten gas. Wonder if we got... Oh, there's a little bit of gas in it. I wondered if there was any rust in it like the last one had, but there is a little bit of stinky, varnishy, rotten gas in there. But it's still liquid, so that's a good sign. Freshen it up with some fresh fuel. Yeah, it stinks, doesn't it, Willis?
Yeah, it does.
At least it was liquid though. The last time I tipped the lantern over and tried to dump it out here, I dumped about a pound of rust out of it, so stinky liquid gas is better than a pound of rust. Oh, I've got new cap gaskets in my little toolbox over here. Let's see here. This is my lantern gear toolbox that I keep all my stuff for working on the lanterns in. I won't record changing the cap gasket on this one because in a couple of weeks I'm going to do a rebuild on the ash flash lantern that I bought, and I'm going to have that as part of that video. I sure do wonder what I did with those gaskets though. I thought I put them in here. Maybe that entire package has not made it into the toolbox yet. Okay, I apparently did not bring my new cap gaskets and pump leathers with me. I know I've got new ones at home, but they didn't make it into my toolkit, so for right now I just borrowed a cap that's got a good gasket off of one of our other lanterns out here. We'll slap it on here, and then when I'm at home I can find those and get them put on here. Try to get this Teflon tape cleaned off of here. I don't really know what I'm going to do with this lantern. I've got plenty of lanterns like this. I might resell this one. Get it going, make sure everything on it works the way that it's supposed to. And this one might go on eBay and get resold. Show that Teflon tape down there with the mantles. We'll start a pile for Dad to sweep up. The tip cleaner lever turns easily, so that's good. Knob turns easy. Maybe it's not going to take too much to get this one going. It's just been used hard, that's for sure. Dad's still polishing on that glass over there. It was a mess.
It's bad. It still won't be real good, but it'll be good enough for this time.
The glass is nicer than the rest of this lantern. This poor old thing just... Whoever used this one used it hard, that's for sure. I would imagine that that Teflon tape did not do a very good job of sealing that fount either. It might have worked, but I'm guessing he had to come back and pump it up a lot. Because I would think that that would not be a very good fix. But, you know, if it's all you had, it might have got it so that he could get by with it. Usually when you find a lantern like this in one of these cases, it's immaculate because it's been kept in the case all the time. But I think that whoever took this to the antique store had this lantern in that case and just threw the two of them together and took it to the antique store, because this poor old thing is beat. And I basically bought it because those cases fit the old 427 and 327 lanterns, and so I've got some of those. It's nice to have cases to keep the old lanterns from the 20s protected. Well, I guess since I know it pumps up and I just borrowed a different cap, I'll have to find my cap gaskets at home, so I just borrowed a different cap. I guess I need to just clean it up a little bit more. We'll just fill it up and tie some mantles on it and see if it'll burn. The paint that's not been beat off of this thing is actually in decent shape, but it's got a lot of chips and dings and stuff in it. Hey Willis,
What?
do you think that the people that are watching this should hit the like and subscribe button?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, that's the right answer. If you said no, I was going to fire you and you wouldn't get to be in any more of my videos. You're not even in this one. You're staying hid around the corner.
But you're there.
So yeah, Willis says hit the like and subscribe button, so you better do it.
Appreciate it.
We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. So anybody that has watched a lot of my videos, there's a video where I packaged up a lantern that I was going to send to a guy overseas, but the shipping was too much. He didn't want to pay all the shipping, so I said when we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give that lantern away to one of the viewers. And we're getting close to that. Might be within about a month or so.
That's a nice lantern too.
So yeah, you might want to go back and watch that video. I'll put a link to it in the description.
About an 86 lantern or something like that.
Yeah, it was the one that I bought for $1.25 off of eBay. It's a 228. Actually, I think I'm going to slosh that around a little bit and dump that little bit out and then fill it up with fresh. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, we sloshed that little bit of fuel around in there and dumped it out. This definitely smells like rotten gas. So I think before I fill it up, I'm going to pump a little bit of pressure in it, crack the valve, and see if we hear any air passing. Uh-oh, check valve isn't check valving. Let's try to pump a little more pressure in there. It seemed, when I was pumping it up earlier, I didn't notice that when I just had my finger over the hole. But it's... Well, that's enough to see if it's going to pass air, but I'm going to have to pull that check valve out and clean it up. Yeah, it's passing air. The borrowed fuel cap doesn't leak. I knew that'd be okay because I took it off of the lantern that works, so. Alright, I guess we're going to have to pull the check valve out and clean it up real quick.
I just used the WD this morning. I'll go get it. It's over here.
I don't know if we have any carb cleaner left out here either.
Didn't we have a little bit left?
Yeah, I think so. I think that jug wasn't empty. Oh, this has got a newer, it doesn't have a leather pump cup. It's got new rubber one in it. Somebody's replaced it at some point, which is okay. They work fine. Get my check valve tool out of here. See if it fits. It should have, yep, the right size check valve that I can use my check valve tool on this. There we go. Dad's got some WD-40 and some carb cleaner here. Get the check valve tool threaded in there. See if we can pop this thing out of here. Go. That check valve tool definitely is worth the price. If you work on lanterns very much, you should go ahead and buy one. They are well worth it. Check valves are not easy to get out without one. There we go. Here's the check valve. It doesn't look too bad, but it definitely is not moving. Didn't take much to free it up. I just used the end of the needle that threads down in there, poked it, and it came right loose. But we'll spray a little carb cleaner through it here. Can of carb cleaner's just about empty.
That's all we got.
Too cold to go down to the parts store and buy anymore. Pretty soon it'll be summertime and it'll be hot out.
Yep, that'll feel good.
Yeah. I'll take a 100-degree day over a
Oh yeah.
below 0-degree day anytime. I would much rather have it hot outside.
Same for me.
Same for you, Willis?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's rattling now. It's still leaking by though. That doesn't taste good. Spray a little bit of WD-40 through it. I've got other check valves, but I don't see any reason why this one shouldn't work. Don't see a reason why it shouldn't work, so. That doesn't taste any better. I should really quit doing that. It's not leaking as bad now. It's still letting a little air past it, but if they leak a little bit, that's okay. If they leak a lot, you can't get them pumped up and closed very easily. That really tastes horrible. You'd think that I would quit doing stuff like that. One of these days when I grow up, I'll learn my lesson and quit doing stuff like that. But hasn't happened yet. Alright, snug this back up and see if it will work any better now. Really, the poor old lantern's beat up, but it's...
Nice lantern.
It seems like everything on it's okay. The valve opens and closes easy, it passes air. I didn't try turning the tip cleaner to see if it quits passing air. Get a little pressure pumped in again, I'll do that. See if you turn the tip cleaner and you hear it quit hissing, and then turn it back down and it starts hissing again, then you know that the tip cleaner is moving and actually going into the orifice. Get in there. Why am I doing that? That can't go in there till this goes in there. Maybe that's why it wasn't going in easy. It was like, hey, it's not my time yet.
Needs help.
Willis, what are you doing making all that noise?
Hey.
Well, I am struggling with that. Okay, there we go. I'll put a little shot of WD-40 in there. That's a rubber pump gasket, but it still doesn't hurt to have a little lubrication on it. Get in there, clip. There we go. All right, let's give this another whirl. Did I tighten the cap up? No, I didn't tighten the cap up, so it'll never build pressure that way.
So many things to remember.
I know, it's not easy. Yeah, it's leaking, but it's leaking slower than it was before.
Might get better.
There, it's all but stopped now. It will get better with a little bit of use. Now, I'm going to crack this open again. When I turn the tip cleaner, it quit. Start it again. So, I don't have any reason to think that this is going to do anything other than just light right up. So I'm going to fill it up with fuel. Fill it up with fuel. It certainly does stink like rotten gas, but this will flush it out. You got any seafoam here?
Oh, yeah.
I could give it a shot of seafoam in with it.
I know it's over here.
Some people say that that doesn't make any difference at all, but I have good results using it, so We'll get that over here and put a little shot of it in here, and then I'll dump a little bit more fuel in here.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Can't hurt.
Nope.
I have had pretty good luck with dumping some sea foam in the ones that are stinky, rotten fuel, and it kind of helps them out. This is probably exciting to watch. Let's see how much is in there. Oh yeah, that'll do. That will be plenty. Alright, so over there. Put the borrowed cap back on here. I'll go ahead and pump it up before I put the manholes on there. That way I don't shake it around when I'm got the brand new manholes on there. It's still leaking a little bit, but it's not. Actually, I feel like it did seal up there. So I think the check valve is going to be okay. After a little bit of use, it should be just fine. Well, let's see here. I got a package of manholes right here. There we go. There we go. Several minutes of fumbling around later, I got these tied on there. Cut the excess off of the strings. Throw those down there with the manholes and the Teflon tape that Dad needs to sweep up. Yeah, let's see here. I should try lighting this with that striker thing. I've never used one of those before.
I used to use them all the time.
Maybe I'll do that. I'm shocked that it actually worked. Every time I get one of these lanterns, you spin it and there's no flint in there and it doesn't do anything.
I should order some of that too.
All right, let's see here. Yeah, I got the glass cleaned up pretty good.
It's got a spot on it that don't want to come off. It looks like something got hot on it.
That happens every once in a while.
It'll be fine on the lantern.
Do you suppose it'll light?
Yeah.
You think so? And we're about to find out. Let's put that ball nut back on there. It came with it, so we'll leave that one on there. Okay, you gotta push that thing up to get it close for the sparker. Open the quarter turn and we'll see if we hear it hiss and then gurgle a little bit. That's when you know you're getting fuel up there. Sparks, but I don't know if I'm getting any. It doesn't sound like it's getting any liquid fuel up there, just vapors. Let's try pumping it up a little bit more. When you're just pulling the vapors off top of the tank, you lose pressure pretty quick. It's not leaking past the check valve anymore, so that's a good sign. Well, let's just get a lighter in there. Not that one.
Nope.
Let's see if this one's any smaller. There we go. Try opening it way up and see if we get any fuel.
I don't think you're even getting the air through there.
Yeah, it is. I can see it moving pushing the flame away, but it is not trying to light at all. Well, that's interesting. I've never seen that happen before. It's got fuel in the tank. There definitely is vapors passing through there. But I've let all the air out of it again. But the check valve's working good now, so at least that got that going for us, if nothing else. There, we got a little fuel to go in there. Is it gonna go? Let's open that up all the way now. See if we can get it to stay going. Don't go out now. It's definitely got some bad rotten fuel in it, and got that pickup tube going down into the tank plugged up, it seems like. Usually you can get a little bit of fuel passing through it, you can get it to come out of it. Definitely close that valve a couple times to get that stem that goes down the center of the pickup tube loosened up a little bit maybe. Nope, this one might have to be tore clear down. If that happens, it's not going to happen today. I got to go home and go to bed pretty soon so I can go to work tonight. It just doesn't want to stay going. It's definitely just getting fuel through the tube at the top of the lantern, that's for sure. The pickup tube goes down in there. It's got a hole at the top to let the vapors to light it, and then a hole at the bottom to let the gas in. And when you thread that valve out all the way, the hole at the bottom is supposed to open up to let the liquid fuel in there. And I'm definitely only getting what's coming through the hole at the top. That's why when you shake it around, it'll get a little bit of fuel splash up and go through that hole at the top of the pickup tube. Well,
Yep.
okay folks, you can see it's a different day. I did not have enough time on Monday to keep going with what needs to be done with this lantern. Since it's not getting any fuel out of the fountain, only pulling out of the top of the tank, we're going to have to tear it down and pull the pickup tube assembly out of the fount. And I'll show you what's inside of there and what you have to do to fix it in this situation. I'm guessing that I'm probably going to end up ruining those new mantles that I tied on there. First thing, I'll go ahead and take the generator out of there and get it out of the way. Yeah, I doubt that there's very much chance of doing all this without breaking those mantles. Get the generator out of the way. Here's a little Phillips screw that goes in from the back there. You got to loosen that up to turn your burner assembly off of there. I was gonna not pull this all apart and just try to keep flushing some fuel with seafoam through there. But if I'm going to resell this lantern, even though it's a beat up old mess of a lantern, I'm going to definitely make sure that it's in good working order if I'm going to resell it. So even if it looks a little rough, it'll definitely work just as it's supposed to. I'm going to pull this off and set it aside, and there's a chance that I'll not destroy those mantles before this is all said and done.
Might want to clamp it in place or something.
Yeah, but there's not a real strong chance that I'll make it all the way through without breaking one of them. Good thing we got about 100 4-packs of them when they were all on clearance at Walmart.
We use a lot more than most people, though.
That's the truth. I don't know if I have a wrench in my kit that's actually the right size to fit this nut down here or not. And that one definitely isn't. Well, I guess I've got it out right here. Might as well move on over this a little bit. Clamp the lantern in the lantern vise that Dad built. That'll hold everything securely so that I can have both hands for working on it. There we go. That'll hold the lantern securely so that I don't have to try to hold the lantern with one hand and turn the wrench with the other. There's a jam nut down here that you got to loosen up. Kind of a pain to get in there with a normal wrench. They make wrenches that are a little flat curved wrench to go in there. Alright, now that that's loosened up a little bit, let's see here, I'm going to use this adjustable wrench and we'll get the camera in here a little bit closer so you can see exactly what I'm actually doing here. So the jam nut's right down in here. You loosen that up, and that loosens all of this up. And then to get this whole assembly to spin out of there, I like to take an adjustable wrench and go straight down over there and get on the flats on the side of that valve assembly. And then you can take another wrench or a screwdriver or something and put through the hole in the top of that adjustable wrench. Ooh, that's tight. That one is tight. Some of them are pretty easy, and some of them are grown right together. And this one seems to be very tight. There we go. I've never had one so tight that I couldn't get it to come loose, but this one was, yeah, this was about as tight as I've seen. Usually they don't just come right apart, but they're usually not that hard. Then once you get that loose, you can just spin this whole mess out in one piece. Then you get this part of your valve. Sometimes you'll get this part of the valve. Sometimes you'll get the whole valve and everything will all screw out in one piece. It just depends on whether that fitting into here was tighter or the fitting on the bottom of this end of the fount was tighter. On this one, apparently the fitting into the fount was the tighter of the two, so. Take this screw out of the knob. Set that out of the way. I slide that right off of there. And now this has a regular, like a hex on it. Use this one, the crustiest Craftsman half-inch. Oh, it's not half-inch, it's 9/16. So the 9/16 that I already had sitting here on the table would have worked. Put that on there. And dang, that thing is really tight in there. Oh my goodness, that is tight. And the fountain's clear full of fuel, so I don't want to try to heat it up with a torch to get it to come loose. If I have to resort to that, then I'm going to have to drain the fuel out before I do that.
What about a big crescent wrench so you get more power on it?
I'm thinking about put that wrench on there and then hook this wrench over like that. See if that gives me enough leverage to break it loose. You got to be careful. You'll flex the top of this fount. When you start pulling on it, it doesn't take very much to bend the top of that fount. Gosh dang, that's crazy tight. Get that down on there all the way so it bites in good. There it's going. I got it where I could kind of push on that half with my palm of my hand too and got it to break loose, and I don't think now it is flexing the top a little bit, but fortunately, even if it's flexed a little bit, you can flex it back the other way once you put it back together. They're not super tough there, but man, that is as tight as I've ever had on one of those. Now we got the pickup tube out of there. There's a hole right there at the top of the pickup tube. There's also a hole that comes in through the bottom of the pickup tube. Where did I put my valve at? When you have this valve closed, it's got the flow shut off. When you crack that open a quarter of a turn, it lets the air fuel mixture, that's just the air in the top of the fount, in through that hole, and that's what the lantern lights on, so that it doesn't flood it with liquid fuel. And then after it gets warmed up a little bit and you thread it open the rest of the way, the hole in the bottom of the tube is supposed to open up, but you can see right there that stem is still sticking down through there. So when you thread this valve open and shut, that little piece that is sticking out the bottom should go in and out. So you go open a quarter turn, get air vapors from the top of the fount, that's what lights it, then you go open all the way, and when you open it up all the rest of the way, it's supposed to let that needle come up and start drawing fuel out of the bottom of the tank. And this one is stuck. So you should be able to take a pair of pliers and unthread. Now it's going to come apart at the top end. Either the top or the bottom, one of the two should unthread off of that. Okay, I got looking at my parts and remembered exactly how this should come apart. So I do know that this cap on the end will screw off there on like a 200A, and I think it should on here too, but I couldn't get it to come off, but it will come apart right there. So when you open and close the needle, the valve pushes up and down on the end of this needle. It goes all the way down to the bottom and protrudes through that hole to shut off, to block the liquid fuel and only start on the vapors so you don't flare up. So you can take that apart. That's the end of that needle that comes
Just looks like a pricker tube.
down through there. Yeah, just a bigger diameter. It's got some gunk on the end of it. But you can take that, flip it around and come from the other way and use that to clean out the hole. Now, since I've got it apart, I can see daylight through it. I can blow air through it. I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little bit of carb cleaner down through there.
But still an empty can.
Yeah, I was gonna get some cans to bring out here. And didn't do it. I got half a case of it still in my cupboard in the garage at home, but I didn't grab any, so we're still using the almost empty can. But that's free now. It should. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the fact that I loosened that up and I don't want it to leak. So in my spare parts here, I've got a whole nother one of these tubes with the pricker. I just wanted to take it apart and show you exactly how that actually worked. But I've got one that, now that might be able to see the hole in the end of it. You might be able to see how that comes in and out of there. But I've got one that's in better shape. So I'm just gonna put the better shape one back in here. If I was keeping this lantern, I'd just put the old one back in. But if I'm gonna resell this lantern, I'm gonna make sure that it's got good parts that work right. So I'm gonna get the better, cleaner, nicer shape pickup tube that I've got here. Throw it back on there. I'll put that other one back in my parts. I am gonna buy a little ultrasonic parts cleaner. So once I do that, then I'll clean this one up, refurbish it good, make sure that it's not gonna seep air around there where I broke that loose, and have it back for a spare.
Solder it if you have to, probably.
Yep, but this one you can see the little needle comes out the end there. I don't know how well the camera doesn't focus great on these little tiny things. I'll thread that back in there. Snug that up good. And now, well heck, that's every bit as loose as the other one, so the other one's probably fine, but now when you...
I would say that wouldn't make any difference.
When you close the valve, that little tip should come and stick out there. And when you open it past the quarter turn, it should go down and be open. Lets air pass through it. So that should have that repaired to where it will work just like it is supposed to and light right up. So that is about all there is to disassembling this. I mean, if I had a reason to, we could take this nut loose, slide that packing out, get this whole stem out of there, but that worked fine the other day. I have no reason to think that that needs to be torn apart. So if anybody, once I put this on eBay, if anybody watches this video and is thinking about bidding on it, you'll know it's been taken apart, cleaned out. Everything there is as it should be and should make it work.
These are good old lanterns too.
Just the way that it should. Actually, I think that's, I don't know if I want to go a whole nother turn on that. It doesn't seem excessively tight yet. Here, this wrench is a little better, give me a little more grip. Doesn't seem excessively tight yet, so I think I can get one more turn around there. Ooh. There, we can clamp an extra clamp on the lantern vise to keep it from turning. We're 2/3 of the way there. I think it'll make it the rest of the way around, no problem. Wouldn't that be the shits to snap this off right now after doing all this stuff? We're almost there though. It's tight, but it's not fear of breaking it yet tight. And we're gonna get her lined right back up with the Coleman logo and stop right there. It does look like I flexed the top of that a little bit. I can go ahead and flex it back the other way. It's not too hard to straighten up, and once we get it put back together, if you can see that it's one way or the other, then it's pretty easy to flex it to straighten it back out. All right. Top here. Paint is chipped and flaked on here, but it is not rusty at all underneath it. The fountain's in good shape. This would be a good one if somebody was looking for a project where they wanted to actually repaint one. This would be a good candidate for that because it's not rusty at all, even where the paint has been chipped off of it. This is the fun part, getting all this stuff lined back up and started threading back in there. You about have to do it this way because all these pieces have to go back on there together. And we'll get it down to where it's starting to get snug, and I'll make sure I get it clocked the right direction like it's supposed to be. I'm gonna go one more turn with that too. Put the wrench back on there just like I did when I was taking it off. Hook another wrench or screwdriver or something through the top of it. And then you can come on. Just bent the pricker rod thing a little bit because it was hung up. This damn striker thing was hung up on the stem for the knob. Oh, come on, my wrench is sliding off where I want it. Everything's being difficult all of a sudden. Get that back right there where I want it so that it's not gonna slip off of there. Go just a hair further to get that back right to where it's supposed to be. Okay, we can get this loosened back up out of the vise here now. That lantern vise is super nice when you got to get a hold of something, torque on it good. It's nice to be able to clamp it down tight. There we go. There we go. Now, I've got that back with the valve above the nameplate, the pricker rod lever just off to the side of the valve like it should be. That's the way that the lantern should be clocked. I got snug up this jam nut under here a little bit. I just snug it up until the collar, until you can't wiggle the collar around anymore. That's all the snugger it needs to be. It's not tightening up to seal anything or anything like that. It's just to keep your collar from moving around. Now we can thread this back in here. I'll try to get it going on this set of mandibles, because if I resell it, I'll guarantee that it will probably have the mandibles break when you ship it. So when I resell it, I will throw in a package of mandibles with it. Now there's a little hole in the back right down there that I took that tiny little screw out of. So I gotta turn that around to where I can see that, and then once you get the threads threaded down all the way, you'll see that hole start lining up in there. Right there, it's lined up, so I can put this little screw back in there. It's a little bit of a pain to get them in there, because you can't get a screwdriver straight in there. There we go. Get it started, then you got to get the screwdriver in there at an angle to tighten it up. There we go. That's put back together. Now, we already know that the generator was working, but I'm just going to go ahead and slide the pricker rod out of there and look through it. And yeah, I can see daylight through it just fine. It did light the other day when it was only burning off the vapors on the top of the tank, so I knew that this wasn't plugged up. But when you got it this far, you might as well at least pull it out of there and peek through it and make sure you're seeing daylight through it. Now let's see if I can get this back up in here without getting one of my fat fingers on the mandibles and breaking them. You got to get that up in there. You can slide it way up out of the way. It's got plenty of room. And then hook the pricker rod hook into the eccentric block there. I'll get my fingers out of the way and see. I doubt that the camera's even focusing on any of this, but the little hook on the end of the pricker rod hooks right into the eccentric block there. And then you slide your generator down and the jam nut down, tighten that all up. This doesn't have to be god awful tight. Some of them I get ready to take apart, people have tightened them up like you wouldn't believe, but it doesn't have to be that terribly tight. Before I started recording here again, I did replace the cap gasket. I found my new cap gaskets and pump leathers and stuff that I had thought I had in the toolbox the other day. They were at home. So I got that changed out. So it does have its correct fuel cap back on it now. And
Nice brass one.
the fuel cap that belongs on the other lantern I borrowed it from is off of that lantern that's sitting right back there burning. So it's back on its proper lantern and working like it should. Let me get the knob slid back on there, and then I'll tighten that screw down a little bit. I'll make sure it's all the way shut, and then I always like to line up the arrow and the instructions on there so that when it's all the way shut, the arrow's all the way at the top and the instructions are straight up and down. It really doesn't make any difference, but that's the way I like to have them on my lanterns. I was looking to see if I had a correct ball nut for the top of it, but I don't have a spare one. I thought I would probably have one of those around, but so whoever buys it is going to get it with that ball nut. There we go. Tighten up that fuel cap. We'll pump it up. The other day, after I messed around with it and pumped it several times, the check valve started working and holding. So you know that that's in good shape. You saw that it was pulled out of there. Yeah, it's no longer trying to push the stem out when you quit pumping it. So you know that that check valve is holding. Well, moment of truth, we'll see if it lights. It's passing air, but it was doing that before. Yep, there it goes. Now it's starting to light. As soon as you hear that little gurgle sound, you know that it's picking up a little bit of liquid fuel instead of just vapors. Now open the valve up all the way. It's pretty good. It's not surging. This one back here we need to tear apart because it sits there and surges the whole time it's running. So we need to tear it apart just like I did this one. Take that pickup tube out, and the little spring that's inside that pickup tube you can stretch out a little bit, and they say that that helps correct it when they're surging all the time like that. There we go. Back together and operational. I'll have to burn all the fuel out of this so that it can be shipped. So maybe I'll take it home and clear some of the snow off my bench and light it back up and let it burn tonight. I don't know. There's 2 feet of snow out going to my bench where I always have my videos at home. Yeah. There's literally 2 feet of snow out there from the last week and a half's time or week's time, so maybe not. Maybe I'll just take it home and I'll light it and set it on the bench in the garage or something where I don't have to wade through the snow. But I will burn all the rest of the fuel out of this so that I can package it up to ship it if somebody buys it. If you guys haven't hit the like and subscribe button yet, Willis said to do that when he was here on Monday. Yep. That was 4 days ago, so I don't know what you're waiting for, but hit the like and subscribe button. Share the video if there's someone you know that you think will like this. And then come on back next week, folks. We'll have a video of something here for you to watch. Thanks for watching.